Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those new here, hi, my name's Jenny. I'm a third-year family medicine resident and a mom of two. So I just completed my last ever inpatient rotation, and so a lot of you guys had questions. I wanted to show you guys like a brief vlog of what it's like to be in the hospital. But then I got really busy and so the vlogs feel very incomplete. First of all, I want to talk to you guys about family medicine and what our role is in the hospital, like we working as hospitalists. And second, I want to give tips on how to be like a good student and resident and how to really shine, especially if you are on audition rotations. All right, so family medicine, as a family medicine resident, I work alongside my colleagues, the internal medicine residents, and we basically run the wards. The internal medicine and family medicine resident basically runs the whole floor. And what that means is that I work as an internist. So what that means is that when someone comes in to the emergency department with an acute issue, like say they're in heart failure or they have a COPD exacerbation or they have a really bad infection that has gone to their blood, something that you cannot deal with outpatient, then they get admitted to the hospital. So as the doctor working in the hospital, I would resume their care while they are in the hospital. And so I manage all their medications, I do all the imaging, the workup, and then I come up with a plan, and when they're well enough, then I send them back to their primary care provider. As a family medicine doc, you can work as an internist, or aka hospitalist. Most of the time, if you're in bigger hospitals, they want you to be internal medicine trained, but at our hospital, the family medicine internist and the IM internist work the same, and they work side by side. So if you want to do family medicine and you want to do hospitalist work, that is still an option for you. So some tips on how to shine as a medical student and as a resident. My tip for all medical students is that you have time. You have time compared to your residents and your attendings because you don't write notes. And that time can be used to dig deeper into a patient's history, their social situation, their family dynamic, things like that. And like going to talk to patients for hours or just being that comfort for the patient. So as a student, I don't expect you to come up with some miraculous answer that say the specialist attendings and other chief residents or other residents working on this case have not already thought of. You know, they just want to know that you're coming up with differentials, keeping things in mind. But really, the most important thing is knowing the patient that you were assigned like the back of your hand, and that is very impressive. So the next tip I would say is taking initiative. So I know that's really hard and intimidating coming into a space that's so fast-paced, but I say the easiest way is to pick one or two patients every day that you say, I'm gonna look over these patients. Instead of waiting to be assigned, you're like, this looks very interesting, I want to follow you on these cases and I'm gonna learn about this. And what's even more impressive is that if you go and read about something that say SIADH or something that's unusual about that case, and say during safety rounds you teach it to everyone, like that is taking initiative, that is learning on your own and like self-motivating. And that's what residency programs want to see, because in residency it's not a lot of hand-holding. Like you have to really learn on your own. And so those are the qualities that we look for in students. Tip number 3, I think this is good for both students and residents, is learn from your patients, because you can read a million textbooks. At the end of the day, textbooks are boring, at least for me, and I tend to forget things that are in textbooks, but I will always remember my patients. I feel that if I go home and read one topic every day about a patient that I took care of in the hospital or in the clinic, I remember those patients a lot longer, and I remember what I did, I remember their diagnosis, I remember their treatment plan, I remember their outcome or the complications. You know, I remember those more than reading something out of a textbook. My 4th tip, this is mainly for mental health. I really think that you need to talk to people. Like if you're struggling, please make it known. Mental health is very important, and when you're working inpatient, you're working 80 hours a week. As an attending, you work like a few days on, a few days off, 7 days on and 7 days off. As a resident, you work 6 days a week for 4 weeks straight, and after about the second week you can get really tired and you can get really burnt out. Like if you need help or if you're struggling, please let somebody know. Please let your senior resident know. Please let your attending know, because we want to help you and we want you to succeed, not in an environment that is like making you feel like you're going to drown. Does that make sense? Like, we also want to know as a residency that you know when to ask for help. As a family medicine physician as well, you need to know like what is your scope of practice? What are the things that you can do, and what are the things that is beyond your scope and that you really need to ask help from the specialist and refer out. Those are my tips. And side note, and those of you who are moms in medicine who would still like to pump, advocate for yourself, because it is a medical necessity. You have the right to pump whenever you need to, and people really can't say no. Like I stopped asking and I would tell people, hey, my pump time is this. I usually pump around here, so I'm gonna excuse myself during that time. Just matter of factly. So because at the end of the day, the only person who cares to feed your baby is you. So I hope that helped some of you guys. I hope that gave you some inspiration. I think internal medicine and working in the hospital is extremely fun. It's exciting. It's very fast paced because I order a lab, it gets done later that day. I order imaging, it gets done later that day. I work people up for acute things. So it's very fun and exciting. I feel like a detective. And so if you're into something like that, then maybe internal medicine is for you. You also get to do a lot of procedures like thoracentesis or paracentesis. So I love internal medicine, but that being said, I still don't want to work in the hospital. I think it's way too many hours, and I personally feel like a little bit of disconnect from my patients. Like I miss the continuity of care and I miss the longevity of it. Like I do not want patients to stay in the hospital forever. And so I kind of miss, like I see them when they're most sick and I miss it when they're healthy. You know what I mean? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace. Good morning, everyone. I don't know if you guys can even see me right now, but I'm walking to the hospital. Super tired today. London didn't really sleep last night. He didn't go to sleep until like midnight, I want to say. I had to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, you guys love it when I am open and honest about what being a doctor is like. So yeah, starting inpatient medicine now. Library to myself. It's Sunday. I'm working by myself on an inpatient service on a Sunday. So it's 6 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, let's do this. Just printed out my patient list and I have 20 patients. WTF, dude. Ugh. So I saw all 20 patients this morning and I'm doing one discharge, writing all 20 notes. That's just the role of the senior resident. When I was an intern, I did a little bit less, or second year I did a little bit less as well. But later on, when I have time and when I finish all these notes, a lot of you guys are asking me like, how do I remember everything as a doctor? How do I remember all my patients and all that stuff? So I'll give you a breakdown or run through of what I actually do. So yeah, right now I just need to get work done. So it is currently 4:20 and I literally just had my first real break, watching a little bit of football. Yeah, I saw all 20 patients and I wrote all 20 notes. I did my safety round, so yeah. Oh yeah, I was supposed to tell you guys how I remember like all my patients, and there's so many people, and so yeah, let's get some paper. So this is what I do. I put their past medical history here to help me remember the patient, like if they had high blood pressure, if they have a hyperlipidemia, if they had heart failure, and then next to that I do the working diagnosis, and then after that I would put their labs, and then any unusual vitals or their eyes and nose, and then all the imaging that has been done. And so doing this, it helps me remember like my patient, and I use this to review at the end of the day. You trying to crawl? Here, spin. You want to try again? You want to try crawling over here again? Good try, honey. Oh, you almost got it. Yeah. Oh, it's okay. You almost got it. You almost got it, baby. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's backwards. That's backwards. Almost there.
What is it? What is it?
What's this thing?
Hurry. Wow, you like that one?
Yeah, me like this one. Me like.